A few weeks back, we had a very nice fan of the show reach out and say that he had a whole bunch of old school fishing lures and wanted to see if I was interested. Well, the answer is usually always yes. You see, I think he had his hands full. He had more than he knew what to do with, but wanted to make sure these were passed down to a new generation that could really enjoy these lures. So, here we are today. That's right, we've got a box here, and best part of all vintage, new, old stock 70s fishing lures. You're not gonna wanna miss this. And we're gonna jazz up this video even more by looking at old catalogs, original catalogs from the 70s, advertising, and I'm gonna show you how you can identify these lures by the manufacturer number on the box. You can tell the depth level, the color, the type of lure, almost like a VIN on a car. You can tell it right on the box. I'm gonna show you how you can do that. Very simple. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Stick around, folks. All right, back here at the desk, and we're getting ready to jump into this box of 70s fishing fun, but it may be more appropriate to say, bombs away. That's right, look at this huge lot of new, old, stock Bomber Model A lures. Now, if you're not familiar with the Model A series of lures, came out in the mid-70s, and it was essentially part of the Alphabet Soup or Alphabet series of lures from back in the day. If you don't know what that is, think about the Big O, or the Rebel R series, or the Norman N series, or Strike King's S series. Well, essentially, the Model A was basically their version of the Alphabet series of lures. Shown here in this intro ad from 1976, we see All-Pro linebacker Leroy Jordan of the Dallas Cowboys, who said, "Hey, I might be a professional football player, but I'm definitely not a professional bass fisherman, and I need all the help I can get." And that's where Bomber Model A comes in. He explains, it's a little slimmer, it's a little trimmer, it's got a faster wiggler, and dives a little deeper. All right, so before we jump into the lures, I wanted to show you the actual ad that I was just talking about. This is from the March-April 1976 Bassmaster magazine, and this is a great magazine. A lot of cool advertising and really awesome articles. I mean, look at this. 1976 year, the crankbait, you got Tom Mann right there with just some huge lunker. But we're talking about Bomber, and so we have Leroy Jordan right here talking about Bomber's new Model A, and everything I just discussed there basically dives a little deeper. It's a little trimmer, a little faster. So there's the actual advertising from 1976. And that's where you can find a lot of these ads are in the Bassmaster magazine. And then as you move in, a little bit later on into the 70s, you got the In Fisherman that have some pretty cool ads as well. I want to show you this one too. And this is from the September-October 1977 Bassmaster magazine. And we have Floyd Mabry. Real quick, folks, I just said Floyd Mabry and maybe Floyd Mabry. So for you bomber lure enthusiasts and experts, if I pronounced that wrong, I sincerely apologize. He talks about Bomber's new Model A, and essentially he was talking about how he's been fishing for 40 years, and now we've got this new lure that just came out, and it's got the exact same tagline that was in the previous one. Is that the Model A is a little slimmer, a little trimmer, a faster wiggler, and a deeper diver. So there you have it. So there's a couple ads right there, but hey, I know what you guys are waiting for. You're like, great, great, great. But let's see the stuff. All right, so here we have it. Here's all the lures. I mean, look at this, just Bomber A for days. And let's go ahead and talk about each one. And then if you're out in the wild and you see these and you're not sure on what the color is, I'm gonna show you how you can decode these little numbers right here so you know exactly what you're working with. All right, so let's start on this side. We got the mini A's right here, and then we have the Model A's right there. And if it didn't have a sticker on there that said mini A, and maybe it just had just what the serial number was on the side, you would know it's a mini A or a shallow diving lure because it says 1A. We'll get into all that here in just one second. But one thing I want to note is this person really loved the light crawdad pattern. And this was a very, very popular pattern from back in the day, especially in the late 70s into the early 80s. Just a very big color with a lot of manufacturers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. 4 mini A's, all in that pattern. Here, let's just go ahead and take one out of the box so you guys can take a little closer look at it. But what's incredible is these have never been fished. Look at that. Just immaculate shape. The fact that it's been sitting like this since the late 70s, and it's still this pristine, this finish is fantastic, just outstanding. It's just been waiting for Angling Archaeology to open it up and talk about it. Here's what the insert looks like for these. And you can see we've got, talks about all the different types of crankbaits and lures they've got right there. But you can see that. It's a double-sided one. So you've got the spinner baits, the tail spins, skirted spoons, etc. All on there. So there you have it. So the last mini A that we have right here is a 1AXC4, and what that is, that's a dark brown crawdad pattern. And all the rage in the late 70s and early 80s was this real lifelike looking pattern, this kind of printed on natural look. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But I want you to check out this ad right here. I think this ad is super cool. They did a great job of just kind of showing the crawfish next to the other crawfish, just two crawfish in love, and the real one can't distinguish that this isn't real. So I think it's a pretty clever advertising right there, but just a very, very nice pattern for this mini A. All right, now it's time for Angling Archaeology Bomber Lure VIN decoding, and I'm just saying VIN because I'm a car guy, but it's really just decoding the manufacturer numbers on here. And very simple. We have a 2A, a 2A, a 2A, we have a 6A, and we have an 11A. So how this went is the numbers, as the numbers go up, the deeper the lure would go. So the 1A obviously being the shallow diver, you go into a 2A, which is a medium, then it's 3A, then it's 5A, 6A, 7A, 8A, and 11A. And then the last numbers on here are simply just the color of the lure, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at these, and then I'm going to show you just a full list, and we're going to go through each A so you know the size, the depth level, and the weight, all that fun stuff. But let's go ahead and just jump in this real quick. I want to show you this lure. Absolutely love it. So what we have here, this is a 2A XC7. So what that means, that is a medium runner 2A. It's a 1/4 ounce, 2.5 inch. But look at this, absolutely beautiful, unused lure, incredible. It's been sitting in this box forever, just waiting for me to open it up. So we know that, but here's this. So I don't know, some of these make sense, like SM is smallmouth, BB is baby bass, but the C4s, the XCs, those are different craw patterns. So this XC7 is a fire crawdad. So that's what this one is right here. Now, let's look over here for a second. We've seen this one, the majority of the shallow diving, the 1As, were all this BSBO. Some of the colors don't make sense. I don't know why they call it a BSBO. But what that is a light craw pattern. So we see the same thing. And it may be tough to distinguish from the lip, so you may need to just look at the box to know, is it medium diving or is it shallow diving? So there's an example right there. And same thing with the next one here. 2AXC4, that is a medium diver. That is a 1AXC4, and that is a shallow diver, and that is your dark craw pattern right there. So these are ways that you can distinguish. And as you go through the list, so if this was, let's just say, a 7A XC4, then that would be a deep runner dark craw. Okay, then we have this one right here. This is another deep runner, and this is a 6A SM. Very easy to distinguish right here. We've got a smallmouth pattern and just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful lure. Love, love, love this lure. And never used. Absolutely insane. That's just been sitting probably in a dusty tackle box for the last, almost 50 years. So very, very cool. And check out this ad real quick. This ad just kind of reminds me of this lure, more of that kind of realistic natural look or whatever else. Absolutely love this ad. Another fun one, but very nice. And then last but not least, we have this one right here. And we're going to get into these here in just a minute. I'm going to go through the full list of, you know, all the A's, but I will talk about what a countdown is here in 1 second. So this one is a 11AXBB. So that means 11A is a countdown lure and BB meaning baby bass. And another just absolutely beautiful lure. Very cool. This insert leads me to believe this is probably sometime in the early 80s, but here's what's best about it. Look at this. All the different lures from Bomber. You basically got a micro catalog inside this box. And this other side over here is basically just a library of fishing books, more or less. And there you have it. So let's pause for a moment. I want you guys to be armed with the information of what you got. Let's say you're out in the wild, you're looking at an antique store, estate sale, garage sale. I want you to know what you're buying from the serial number. So let's go ahead and get started. A 1A is a 1/5 ounce, 2 1/4 inch shallow runner. A 2A is a 1/4 ounce, 2 1/2 inch medium runner. A 3A is a 1/2 ounce, 3 inch medium runner. And then a 5A is a 1/5 ounce, 2 1/2 inch deep runner. Then we have a 6A, a 1/4 ounce, 3 inch deep runner. Next is a 7A, a 1/2 ounce, 3 1/2 inch deep runner. Then we have the big mamma jamma here. We have the 8A, a 3/4 ounce, 4 1/2 inch extra deep runner. And then finally, we have the 11A, a 3/8 ounce, 2 3/4 inch countdown. And we'll talk about what a countdown is here in just a minute. All right, well, this is quickly turning into a Bomber Model A history video, but I don't think anybody really minds. It's a lot of fun to look at this stuff. And don't worry, I didn't forget about this, the countdown. So check out this ad from 1978. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, what is a countdown? Well, a countdown essentially means that this lure goes down 1 foot per second, and it's meant to stay down until the retrieval gets closer to the boat and goes back up. So you see right here, it explains what the countdown does. And then this other graph right here shows how the lure will maintain its depth level until you get to the boat and come back. And you can see, so it'll get down quickly, and depending on how fast you crank, you can maintain a certain level as well too. Now, looking at this countdown compared to, let's just say, this 6A deep diver. So you can see a big difference in bill right there. So that is a straight bill, and the countdown has a bill like this. Certainly meant to get down quickly and stay down where it's intended to be. So that's what a countdown is. In case you guys didn't know. Whoop, wrong box. There you have it. Just as you thought you learned more about the Bomber Model A than you ever wanted to know, we're going to go even more into the rabbit hole with this 1977 Bass Pro catalog, which was the introduction year for the Model A into the catalog here. And as we see, Bill Wilson talks tournament fishing with Bomber's new Model A. And you're probably thinking to yourself, who the heck is Bill Wilson? Bill Wilson is the president of Hogs Unlimited here. And it's one of the largest bass clubs in the U.S. And they're just saying how great the Bomber Model A is. But as we can see right here, we've got a nice chart. We have 4 models available through Bass Pro Shop. We may have had more if you're buying direct. But as we see right here, here's some of the colors. And so right away, we see crawfish BSBO, and that lines up to what we were looking at before. So BSBO. So there you have it. So that's for 1977. Some really nice patterns though. You got the fire tiger, you've got the crawfish, and some of the white rib, yellow rib, perch, stuff like that. That's for 77. Let's move over to 1978, and Bass Pro expands their line by putting 5 models in to choose from now. Now you have the 2A, the 3A, the 6A, 7, and 8A. And now we're starting to look at more of these more realistic patterns, if you will. And you'll really see that in 79, even more so. But I love this. Look at this crappie one. What a fantastic design that is. So Let you all just take a look at that, gander on that a little bit. So there you have it. That's for 1978. Moving into 1979. Nice placeholder here because the page fell out. But what we have here is we have 5 models again. This time we have a 2A, a 3A, a 5A, a 6A, and a 7A. So I believe in 1978, it was slightly different. What did we have different here? And I'm sorry, I'm backtracking here, folks. I'm backtracking. But while I'm looking at that, why don't you take a look at the patterns? So we had 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this one, we don't have the 8, we just have the 5. So that's the difference for 1979. But this is where you're starting to see really these realistic patterns right here. And this is the greenback crawfish. Very, very cool looking one. Hey, since the page is off, let's go ahead and just zoom in on that so you can see it. That blue flash shad is pretty neat as well. Baby bass, smallmouth. Smallmouth looks a little slightly different than the one I have. Maybe it's just the lighting from the catalog. The crappie looks a little different as well too. Changed up the crappie pattern. You have more of a printed. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. All right, so up next out of the box, we got another fun one from Bomber, and that is none other than the Bomber Twin Spinner Bushwhacker right here. Really cool double-bladed spinnerbait. A lot of fun. And let's go ahead and just take a little deeper dive into this right here so you can see it kind of new in package. This one, the plastic's all ripped up. It's kind of falling out of the package. Probably need to fish it. Probably make a video about that as well. But you see right here, you got 2 blades. You get kind of a side view. Now, if you just saw my latest video, I fish a lure very similar to this called the head and twin spin. This is Bomber's version of that, more or less. Now, if you haven't seen that video yet, well, get on over after this video and go watch it. You're not going to want to miss it. There's a lot of great content on there. And most importantly, we did a giveaway on that video. So let's go ahead and jump into that for a second. Tony, I haven't heard back from you yet. Tony1412, you were the big winner. And what did Tony win? Well, he won an ultra rare Schooler 4-bladed spinnerbait, a new old stock Lunker Lure buzzbait, some Angling Archaeology decals. You're going to need these for the tackle boxes or the coolers. And as a bonus, some Angling Archaeology Super 70's spinners. You've got fire, lime green, electric blue, all sorts of cool colors. We're going to toss that in there as well too. Tony, email me at anglingarchaeology@gmail.com. Let me know what your mailing address is. We'll get this stuff out to you. And folks, stick around because we're going to have more giveaways coming soon. Let's see what else we got in this box. Well, hey, since we're talking about spinnerbaits, why don't we spin on over to the next lure, which is a spinnerbait, and that is from none other than Virgil Ward's company, Bassbuster Lures, and that is the Tandem spin right here. Now, when you think about Bassbuster's bladed fishing lures, not the other stuff that they're making, their bladed stuff, you probably think beetle spin, tarantula, scorpion. Well, they also have this one here. This one's called the Tandem spin, and it's basically a 2-blade, you know, what you would think of today as a spinnerbait. But look at this mamma jamma. What I love about this huge copper blade hammered, and that copper with that chartreuse, just a really, really cool new old stock on card. Now, it's kind of funny. This card's contradictory. I'm going to say it's probably 3/8 ounce. But you see up here it says 3/8, and then over here it says 5/8. I'm sure they were just probably printing off a lot of cards, and they just put the sticker is probably the more legitimate ounce size. But that's a good looking spinnerbait right there. I'm going to keep this one in package for the collection just because I think it's pretty cool. And for me, this is local history since it's not too far away from where I live. So I think it's pretty neat. So that is the Tandem Spin by Bassbuster. So up next, we got a lure that was introduced in the 1977 Bass Pro catalog, which we're going to take a look at here in just 1 second. And that is none other than Strike King's Timber King right here. Now, if you don't know what this is a skirted spoon. It's a topwater lure. So what you do with this Basically, it would be on top of the water, and this would float over lily pads or cover or whatever else. And just a really neat topwater lure. I actually made a video about skirted spoons. You can check that out as well too. But without further ado, let's look at the 77 catalog to see what colors and what they offered back in the day. So 1977 was a pretty big year for this particular lot of lures. And we're back here at the 1977 Bass Pro catalog to explore the Timber King a little more into detail. And we see it says new here for 77. So we've got, let's just take one more look at that. Look at the detail on that spoon. Nice frog pattern there. Just a really cool, they call it here a weedless spoon. It's really a skirted spoon, but it looks like it comes in a few different varieties here. You got your frog, gold, silver, fire red. I mean, that'd be a fun one to try. Just really neat to see this new for 77 right there. Let's see if I can just kind of move this up so you guys can see a little bit better. But it came at a cost for $119, 4 for $3.99. Look at that. Hey, huh? Getting a little bit of a deal there. Came with a 5/0 hook. Really nice. So, designed to crawl over logs and glide over moss and lily pads. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So, there you have it. There's the Timber King for 77. Hey, since we're already stuck in the 70s, let's go ahead and take a look at this 1979 spread of the Timber King. And we see here, it's a 2-pager, okay? So it says new and hot for 79. Well, all these colors look pretty similar to the 1977 catalog, as we see here. So we've got gold, black. So we see gold and black here. Maybe it's just the skirt, but I think what they mean new and hot for 79 is the addition of the 1/4 ounce. So we see the 1/2 ounce in the 1977, so that must be the new and hot for 79 here. But we got world champion for 79, Bobby Murray, talking about the Timber King and the success that he's had with that. So just a really neat 2-page spread. This is really skirted spoon heyday right here, folks. So let's go ahead and just take a look at these colors so you all can look at that. I want you just drink it in, folks. Here it is. But we've got 2 options here. We got the 1/4 ounce and the 1/2 ounce. Timber King spoon, skirted spoon. All right, so up next, we've got a lure from Tackle Industries out of Shreveport, Louisiana. And you've probably seen this lure before, or a variation of it. And what that is none other than the Swimmin' Minnow right here. So here's an example of an earlier one in the plastic case right here. And then we've got a few other options right there in box. See right there, Tackle Industries, Shreveport, all new old stock. Look at this. And oh man, the color and the glitter on this one right here. Let's see, hopefully you can get rid of that glare right there. So if this lure looks familiar, you may have seen it in a couple different variations. The Pico Perch, the Bayou Boogie. Well, this is the Swimmin' Minnow. And this is an awesome little lure. I mean, so basically, it's a fast, vibrating, sinking lure. It's probably good for trolling, for getting down deep or whatever else, but you can see up close kind of what this lure looks like. And it's supposed to give more of a very tight, vibrating, natural swimming action. And so that's why it would probably work really well for trolling. This one might be another good one to make a video about. But you can see here's the inside the box as well too. Basically talks about the action a little bit, but really cool little lure from Tackle Industries out of Shreveport. And that is the Swimming Minnow. And folks, if you like this one, look for them on Angling Archaeology eBay, okay? You might find them on there here pretty soon. So another really cool thing that this guy did, in addition to reaching out to me and making this lure deal, is that he threw in a lot of free old school boxes, which was fantastic because I used literally all of them for lures that needed boxes. So I thought that was a great deal. But there's one lure in particular that I don't have yet that I've been wanting. This thing has been the elusive lure. It's been evading me for quite some time, and it's really just because of how much it costs. It's absolutely ridiculous. The price on these things, they're just outlandish. Out of box, $50, just the lure by itself. and even one in extremely poor condition, probably still like $30, $40. And that is none other than this right here. And that is Tom Mann's Frogman. I've been wanting one of these lures forever, and I finally got the box. So I guess you could say I'm halfway there. Now we're going to jump into the 1977 catalog and take a closer look at the Frogman, but this is a really cool topwater by Mann's Lure Company right here. So just look at the box, just so you guys can see that. Just so you can get a little deeper dive into that right there. And we're going to go ahead and just open up this box real quick too, because it's so cool. This is when sometimes the box is almost as cool as the lure. I love that I even have the box, because I'm sure the box is worth something right there. And so he talks about the Frogman as a topwater lure right there. You see Tom Mann right there with the Frogman. You don't have these kind of inserts anymore, and it's just really neat. So very, very much appreciated that I have this box now. Now I need to find the lure. And I'm hoping I can find it out in the wild at an estate sale, a garage sale, something like that, because eBay, good luck. So anyways, let's go ahead and just take a look at it real quick in the catalog. And big shocker, we're going back to 1977 again. And this time for Tom Mann's Frogman lure. The lure that has eluded me forever. I've got the box, so I'm halfway there. But let's go ahead and just show you this full page spread. So what it says down below. The super topwater bait has been designed and thoroughly tested by Tom Mann and is a real fish catcher. Before introducing this lure, Tom Mann personally caught over 50 bass weighing 6 pounds or over on it. Now that sounds like a tall tale, something my dad would say when he's out on the water. So, but hey, you know what? I believe Tom Mann. I'm sure he's got a lot of free time and probably has access to some really nice ponds that can catch 6-pound bass. The BB shot contained inside of the dual sound chamber will roll from side to side, making this lure excellent for walking across the surface of the water. This is a show enough winner for all topwater fishermen. And we have a list price here for $1.39. I would gladly pay triple that right now. These lures are absolutely insane on eBay, and I've never found one out in the wild. Maybe I need to start going to antique stores or something. I don't know. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Just a really, fun, simple looking design right here. But what I like about it is just the simplicity of, the color and the paint on here. Looks like they probably used the same, whatever it is, template to spray on these. They all kind of look pretty similar except for the frog spot. But you got the green frog, yellow coach dog, and that was big for, actually, bomber lures had a coach dog color as well too, with that yellow and black pattern. Frog spot, brown coach dog, chartreuse coach dog, and black coach dog right there. Really neat. Really, really fun, cool one. I'm just going to go ahead and pan this so you can see the full ad right there. If you run across them, folks, anywhere, garage sale, estate sale, antique store, if it's under 30 bucks, buy it. The next lure we've got up here is actually a novelty, and if you collect old school lures, you've probably seen this one before. It's pretty funny. And the guy actually wrote on here, Jimmy Carter Novelty, and that's exactly what this is. And it's none other than the Prez. As you can see, it's a peanut for peanut farming. Jimmy Carter, get it? And so here's the original packaging right here. It says the cracker of a cranker, the Prez. This is what an original new box would have looked like. But let me show you this lure. I think this lure is just hilarious. And what I love about it is the bill. And you can see the big, cheesy smile right there. And just, looks like a peanut. It's awesome. It's also referred to as, on the card, a super goober. So I don't know if you can read that or not, but pretty neat. This one's probably a few years later. This would have been the one that would have came out somewhere roughly around 1977-ish. Seeing that it's in this box now, this is probably, I don't know, I would guess early 80s or something like that. But a really fun lure, fun to collect. And so you got the Cordell Prez. There you have it. So for the Prez, we're going to take a look at a catalog that we haven't seen yet, and that's the 1977 catalog. Oh wait, no, we've literally looked at every single lure in the 1977 catalog at this point. But here we go. We got the Prez right here, new for 77. And it says right here in extremely tiny print, politics and fishing have much in common. It takes a lot of slippery, wriggling, waffling action to get the job done. There you have it. Bass Pro price, 2 for $229, $5.99 right there for 3 of them. So here's the Prez. Gotta love that lure. So all the rage in the late 1970s and early 1980s as it pertains to fishing lures was the natural look. All the fishing lure companies were going all natural. This next lure over here is no exception. I'm going to show you a bunch of examples here in these Bass Pro catalogs. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. And what we have here is a Rebel We Are. And this is a naturalized perch. Okay, so what am I talking about? What does that even mean? Well, all these companies were putting these really lifelike looking designs on their lures to mimic what was really swimming in the water. You see Rebel We Are right there. And if you can see that lure, you can see the scaling. It just looks more realistic, if you will. So let's go ahead and jump into these catalogs and take a look at who else is doing this as well. What did I mean when I said that the natural look was kind of all the rage in the late 1970s and early 1980s? Well, let's take this absolutely beautiful Rebel We Are out of the package and take a look at that. Really nice finish, a nice kind of printing right on there. Just a very cool lure. And a lot of companies were doing this back in the day. Side note, as we take a look at this box, we also see We Are F9373. Much like the Bomber that we discussed earlier, Rebel did the same thing. We'll do that in another video where we kind of go over how you can indicate, what's what by just looking at the box. But I can show you right here, clear as day from the catalog. So this is a 1979 Bass Pro catalog, and we get to see kind of all the natural look all right here on this page. So you can see on this side over here, we've got some really realistic looking baby bass patterns. And then, let me show you this. So look, we see We Are F93. F93. This is a naturalized perch. You go over to this other side over here, perch 7.3. The back of this, 7.3. That's you can tell kind of what you got if you're looking at the serial numbers on these as well. Or the manufacturer numbers, whatever you want to call them. So we got some really nice looking patterns right here. We got this shad. This frog is incredible. The perch, the bass. I mean, really cool stuff. And I mean, we turn the pages to other lure manufacturers and everyone's kind of doing it. The natural chug right here, Bass Pro Shop. It's more or less a plug, but it's got that printed natural look. The natural Ike. See, is that, there we go. We got that. And so we have these patterns right here, all meant to look realistic, if you will. And it was kind of the rage in all the companies. I mean, a lot of people were doing it. Let's see if we can find another couple here. Oh, here we go. Right here, new and hot for 77. We've got these patterns like this crappie pattern right here. We got some of these patterns. So, you get what I'm trying to say here. And I'll see if I can find the Arbogast. They had a really cool one. And I don't know if it was for 19... We're just doing this together, folks. Oh, hey, look at this. The spot. Look at these. Look at that baby bass pattern. That is a very, very cool pattern for that lipless right there. We're going through this. This is a team effort. Oh, look at this. Okay, look at the heading right here. Even the Zara's in on it. Look at that. And they talk about how they're basically just, drawing a picture to mimic the lifelike nature of that frog right there. Nice. Ah, here we are. These. Actually, I'm going to pull out another catalog because I want to show you probably some of my favorite. But, these are really cool too. This is called the Believens by the Arbogast lures. And let's see here. Hang tight. We're going to show you just one more catalog. All right, real quick rabbit hole here. Since we're talking about natural looking baits, I have to show you these. These are just really, really, really cool. I want to see if I can get that glare off there. There we go. So what these are the Believens by Arbogast. And I love the bird and rodent series that they have here. So you got the sparrow, the chipmunk, gray mouse, and red-wing blackbird. Look at that. You got that both in the jitterbug and hula popper. But let's see if we can get kind of an up close on some of these so you can see them a little better. But look at that. I love that sparrow. That's probably my favorite. The chipmunk's pretty cool. Gray mouse is cool. The red-wing blackbird. Great detail on all those. Let's see if I can... We getting a little glare there? That's all right. But you guys get the gist. You guys get the gist of what's going on here. I'd be fine just getting a couple sparrows and trying to fish those. That's what I'm going to... You know what? That's a video right there, folks. Hey, I'm just talking to that as we're making this. That'd be a fun one. Break out the jitterbug sparrow and both the hula popper and the jitterbug and see which one catches more fish. I don't know. Hey, we're just having fun. All right, and saving the most unusual for last, we've got right here a Blimp's Mr. Mouse. Like, what is that thing? Yeah, well, you're not alone. I was thinking the same thing because I'd never seen one before this. But essentially what it is, it's a topwater lure right here. You got the prop in the front. You got a little tail, just a neat little mouse design. And what I found out about it, which is very limited information, is that it's got a patent date of 1970. It's out of Kentucky. And basically they made these from the 70s until the 90s. But if you look at this design, I mean, obviously, we still buy lures just like this today. It's more or less a reverse whopper plopper if you look at this. You have the prop in the front, you know, the whopper plopper would have the prop in the back. So I don't know much about this. If you guys know more about it and you want to type in the information down below. Pretty neat little lure. I haven't decided if I'm going to sell this, fish this, or keep it yet. You know, hey, if you want to see a video on the water of this thing, let me know. I mean, why not? Let's have fun with it. So that's going to do it for these lures. Folks, if you like what you saw in this video, be on the lookout on Angling Archaeology eBay. Okay, I'll put the link right here. Now, that being said, this was not some big infomercial. It's not like that at all. So what I like to do when I get multiples of things like this, I like to collect one, cast one, and sell one. And I only sell to put money back into the hobby so I can provide you guys with the most mediocre fishing content on YouTube. So that's it. I'm not here to make money on this. I just want to put it back in the hobby so we can make more videos and have more fun. At the old post office here, just dropping off an Angling Archaeology eBay order. If you guys haven't been to Angling Archaeology eBay yet, I highly suggest you guys stop by there. I invite you guys to just cruise around. There might be something on there that you want, you know? Do a little shopping, see if there's something that you just can't live without. A lot of really cool vintage lures and items on there. So that's going to do it for this episode of Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. I want to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. Until next time, folks, we'll see you out on the water. Thanks for watching Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. Don't forget to like and subscribe.